and welcome to week 12 of plant biology. We're going to continue our discussion this week looking at true plant systematics in chapter 25 of the Biology 2E textbook. So the reading is simply a continuation of what was assigned for last week, but it's a fairly dense chapter, so please take your time and work at understanding the information in this text. Again, to review briefly, the beginning part of this chapter really looks at establishing our understanding of systematics and how biologists build their knowledge about how organisms, in our case plants, evolve over time. So we're starting to look at these family trees and how these branches off of these family trees fit together and why they're important. So if we understand how organisms are closely related or more distantly related from one another, that can have important implications on management of species and things like that. That chapter 25 also starts the discussion about defining the major different groups of plant and plant-like organisms that we can see on Earth. And it really starts with those early green algae. You can trace the plant lineage back to these single-celled organisms like cyanobacteria, and as evolution progresses, they start to become photosynthetic algae. And so we can trace plant life histories through time looking at these evolutionary links, and existing species today are closely related to species from the past. As those algae make sort of the leap from the aquatic environment to land environments, then we start to see the development of organisms like mosses, liverworts, and hornworts, or the bryophyte group. So these early multicellular plants, they are not vascular in nature, so they don't have vascular tissue, but you start to get these small, low-growing, mat-like vegetation pieces that we see today, and pretty much everywhere as moss. So those organisms are obviously still in existence on the face of the earth today, albeit slightly changed from their ancestors, but also in many ways very much the same. They are a successful group. Evolution says this is a successful lifestyle for you, keep on doing it. As these non-vascular bryophytes start developing, now we can start to see the development of vascular tissue, so structures like true leaves, stems, roots, things like that. Then we're starting to look at these seedless vascular plants, the ferns and their allies. Excuse me. The club mosses, the horsetails, the whisk ferns, and things like that. These plants do have true vascular structure, so we start to see xylem and phloem coming into the evolutionary record. And the ferns and their allies, that group of plants was incredibly successful, say tens of millions of years ago, during the time of the dinosaurs. So dinosaurs basically ate ferns. They weren't eating plants that we see today. That's sort of where chapter 25 stops, and looking ahead to next week, we're going to start looking in Biology 2E in chapter 26, and also 32.1 in 2E, and we're going to start looking at a group of organisms called the gymnosperms, which are basically the pine trees. But for this week, again, stay focused on chapter 25. Go back, reread it, understand systematics, how systematics works, why it's important, and then start looking at these early plant and plant-like life stages. So have a good week. I'll talk to you later.